Hi, I'm Hugo Barra, Director of Product Management with Google. Today devices like this, have like about 2,000 MIPS, millions of instructions per second. That's probably 5 times more than 5 years ago, and that's going to continue to evolve as we've seen, for example, with PCs. However, with 4G networks around the corner, we think that the opportunity is actually way beyond sort of this exponential growth that we're seeing in sort of physical computing. So take a device like this and you connect it to a cloud, let's say 10,000 machines in a data center cluster. You add up those CPUs and you've got about 2 billion MIPS, which is about 1 million times what you have here. And it's a lot of computing power, and you think about the fact that you might only use that for a small fraction of a second. But it's that kind of really high responsiveness, low latency network that's going to sort of leapfrog what you can do computing-wise with these devices. So think about a device like this, not as having 2,000 MIPS, but as having access to 2 billion MIPS. So I think we should be doing both. It's important to continue to work on what you can do locally, so that you can have high definition video playable very, very smoothly. You can do things that require really fast responsive UIs, rendering 3D games, things that sort of can only be done locally. And I think that is what the sort of current ramp of physical computing improvements is going to do. But when you start thinking about applications, sort of in the broader sense, really it's the cloud computing ability that I would love to see developers thinking more about than just what they can do on the device, right? Being able to connect a sensor, a camera, a microphone, a compass, GPS, etc. Think about connecting that sensor directly to a data center and having a real-time stream of data, right? With maybe hundreds of refreshes a second or tens of refreshes a second, and then being able to process that in real time, compute in the cloud, and then send data back as a result. Yeah, so I think that the full potential really only is realized when you have true sub-second latencies, sort of in worst case scenario type network environments, right? So you click a button on your device and the UI connects to a server somewhere in the cloud within a small fraction of a second, right? That's sort of the nirvana of cloud computing when the latency is so low. So of course there are improvements that are still a lot to be made. But I'm actually pretty excited about the 4G networks that are here today. Sprint's 4G network, Verizon's upcoming 4G network. I'm really excited about the potential there. The first thing that we really thought about when we built the new voice actions feature of voice search was just to make things easier for people, right? What are things that you do every day, multiple times a day, that we can automate, shave time off, or maybe allow you to do in situations where you probably wouldn't do. Say you just got off a train, you're running to a meeting that you're late in, you wouldn't be able to sort of take your time and send a text message, right? But if you can do it in one step, then you probably will do it, right? So that was the first step, is thinking about things that you already do that we can accelerate, automate, shave time off, etc. The next step is, so what are some new things? Like, what are the developer opportunities that exist here, particularly because we're operating on Android, an open platform, the intent APIs, all that stuff. We haven't thought too much about that, but we're actually very interested in any ideas that folks might have. One of the most amazing things that we learned from the voice search launch, and to put it in perspective, we first launched voice search about 2 years ago, was the ability that users have to pick up on quality improvements without you telling them anything. So every time we rolled out a new language model, a new acoustic model that was incrementally better, maybe 5–10% better than the previous one, we didn't do a press release, we didn't post on our blog or anything like that, we just did it. And almost instantly, we would see usage increase a little bit, and then a little bit more, and a little bit more. So users sort of notice it, and then they start using it more often. That was a great learning that we had. Well, I mean, I think that designing an app that's connected to the cloud is no different than designing any other app, right? You want to think about use cases, you want to think about what people want to do, what is the value that you bring, what is the unique functionality that you're going to build, and then think about ways to make that happen in a really fast, sort of smooth, highly accurate way. In many of those cases, you'll find that using high-scale, large-scale computing might be the answer, right? So of course, voice recognition, if you're doing anything that requires some visual treatment in real time, obviously location, a number of those things might seem feeding, but I would focus obviously on the use cases first and foremost. Oh man, I couldn't possibly answer that question. 5 years is too far away. I'm struggling with next year. The biggest change that we'll see in this sort of genre of applications that are cloud connected in the next year is sort of more real timeness. Voice search is going to respond faster to the point where it's going to be real time, right? You can speak and you can see things appear as you're speaking them, on the screen. Computer vision also being able to work sort of in real time, right? So think of your augmented reality apps that are out there, and what if you could apply computer vision to that application in real time, right? What kinds of new features do you think you'd be able to develop? So I think those real-time improvements are going to open some new doors, and then beyond that, of course, it's hard to predict. I think that going back to the point that you mentioned earlier, it's really hoping that our dreams of connectivity, a sort of pervasive, high-quality, low-latency connectivity, sort of really materialize. And I would love to have a perfect 4G network tomorrow if I could. I know I can't. How soon will it be until I have 100 millisecond latency 90% of the time on my wireless network?